Welcome back to the Demon Slayer Gaming Channel. We're going to be continuing our Final Fantasy XIV Dungeon Guide series today. We're going to be taking a look at the 4th dungeon and the Dawn Trail expansion, Vanguard. Now the Sentry G7 is going to have a cone AoE that he can throw out. Proceeding into the next area, there's going to be 3 bikes that are going to do line AoEs towards you. Just stand between these and then pick them up whenever they charge over. There will be 3 more bikes a little further on that will fly up into the air and do donut AoEs. While they're on the ground, they can all do circular AoEs. For the boss, whenever you pick him up, he'll begin to cast Electro Wave. This is just going to do party-wide damage and create a damaging field on the outside of the arena. He'll then cast Enhanced Mobility. He'll need to check the rotation that he'll be doing by following the red line, and then which side the blade is on. If it is on the same side that he is going to be moving, then you'll need to move to the outside of the platform. If it's on the opposite side, then you'll need to move into the center. After this, he'll cast Dispatch, which is going to summon multiple adds to the outside of the arena that will just rush across the platform, so make sure that you're standing in between these. He'll then do another Electro Wave for party-wide damage, followed by another Dispatch. This time the bikes that appear will do circular AoEs that will grow over time, so you'll just need to identify the openings towards the outside of the platform. And then go back to the center, casting another Enhanced Mobility. This time we got left and left, so again we move to the outside of the platform. And then cast another Dispatch. This time the bikes will appear on 2 separate sides, so you'll need to stand in the openings between all of them. At the same time, he'll do circular AoEs on all party members, so make sure that you're spreading out. The next Dispatch will summon 8 of the circular AoE adds. So identify the opening for the first group, and then after those AoEs go off, you'll need to move into the center to avoid the second group. I'll follow up with another Electric Wave for party-wide damage. And then another Enhanced Mobility. This time he's going to be heading left and his blade is on the right, so you want to move behind the boss and stand in the middle to avoid him. So this is an example of what I meant by opposite sides. He'll then do Dispatch again with Electric Surge, so stand in between the 2 different sets of bikes and spread out to avoid overlapping the circular AoEs. You'll then have 2 more sets of the flying bikes for these large circular AoEs. For the next group, the turrets are going to launch line AoEs as you move towards them. Just move in between these as you get closer and then pick them all up afterwards. And then the next group will be a G7 along with several S7s again. This is the difference between gun and sword. So the gun is going to be a ranged unit, so make sure that you're tanking on top of him. And then he'll have his cone AoEs. After all of these are dead, then 3 more turrets will appear after the door opens up. So you'll need to move to either the left or right to avoid the AoE from them. You also have 2 arrow stats that will come out. These can do donut AoEs around themselves. For the second boss, he'll also start off the fight with Electro Wave. This works the same way as the first boss, doing party-wide damage, along with creating the damaging field along the outside of the area. And then cast Search and Destroy, which will create multiple laser turrets along the outside of the platform. Several of them will do line AoEs, while others will do circular AoEs. The damage from these is not very large, and it doesn't apply vulnerability debuffs, so try to avoid them, but if you are hit once or twice, it's okay. I'll follow up with a Fulminous Fence. This is going to put multiple fences on the platform that you'll want to avoid walking through. At the same time, he'll do Battery Circuit, which will create a damaging field underneath himself, along with a rotating damaging field that will move around the boss in both directions. While this is happening, there will also be circular AoEs around the platform, so you'll need to avoid all of these as you rotate around him. Rapid Thunder is going to be the tank buster, so you just want to mitigate this as much as you can. And then Motion Sensor is going to create several laser turrets on the side of the platform that will do AoEs. At the same time, there will be a dice countdown over your character that you'll need to stop moving and when it's almost done counting down, so that you can avoid being hit by this. And then summon the fences one more time, and at the same time summoning the laser turrets on the outside of the platform. So you'll just need to move in between these while avoiding going through the fences. Heavy Blast Cannon is going to do a group up AoE, so you just want to group in a line to split the damage. Then he'll do another Electro Wave for party-wide damage. And follow up with another Motion Sensor, so just move in between the AoEs as they go off. And then once the dice counts down to 1 or 2, exit out, and so your character stops moving, so you can avoid the damage from that. I'll do another Search and Destroy, so this will summon the fences along with the laser turrets. So just move in between all of these AoEs. After this, he'll do a Tracking Bolt, which will do a large circular AoE on all party members, so make sure to spread out. As you move on to the bridge in the next era, there will be 2 different groups of flying ads. These all do magic damage, so their damage can ramp up pretty high pretty quickly, so make sure you're using your cooldowns appropriately. For the next group, there will be 4 turrets, which will launch line AoEs, and 1 aerostat, which will do a donut AoE. So just move in between these. Afterwards, there will be another G7 and 3 S7s, so 1 gun and 3 swords. Again, just pick these up and tank on top of the G7. He'll have his typical cone AoE that's always faced towards the tank, so just make sure that you're facing away from the rest of the team. And then make sure to stand inside the donut AoE when the arrow stat uses that. This will bring you to the final boss. This is a 2-phase fight, so make sure not to blow the limit break on the first phase, it'll just be wasted. But when you pick up the boss, he'll cast Electrothermia. This is going to do party-wide damage, along with creating the damaging field along the outside of the area. And then cast Soulbane Saber. This is going to do a line AoE that will expand, covering half of the platform, so you'll want to move to the opposite side. Saber Rush is his tank buster, so just mitigate this appropriately. He'll then do 4 Soulbane Sabers, this time rotating 45 degrees every time. After the second one, he's going to do a circular AoE on all party members, and then after the 4th one, it'll do the circular AoE again. I'll follow this up with another Electrothermia for party-wide damage. And then another Saber Rush tank buster. For phase 2, he also has a cone AoE that he'll throw out that you'll just want to move out of. And then he'll go to one side and then cast Syntheslither. This is going to make him rotate around the platform in a serpentine pattern, and then he'll do cone AoEs at each point that is identified. The easiest way to avoid this is to stand to the side of his original slashing point. He'll follow up with a Shade Shot. This is going to be his tank buster. He'll then cast Slitherbane Rearguard or Foreguard. If he casts Rearguard, then this is going to do an AoE behind him along with the line AoE in front of him. If he casts 4 guard, then it's going to do an AoE in front of him along with the AoE in front of him. So he'll do 2 of each, but it can happen in a random pattern. He'll follow up with Screech for party-wide damage. Before going back to one side of the platform and casting this Sent the Slither again, get to the side of his original location, and again make sure that you're standing on the inside of the slithering pattern. Shade Shot is another tank buster. He'll then do the Slitherbane, Rear Guard, and Foreguard again. There's again 4 AoEs, and then pay attention to the Rear Guard or Foreguard portion. They happen in random patterns, but there is always 2 of each. So if the first 2 are Rear Guard, you know that the last 2 are going to be Foreguard. And this shall be it for this dungeon. I hope this helped everyone out. If it did, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you on the next one.